guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video, here with a very special guest, Stefi. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. For those that don't know, arguably, and that's why we'll see about the title, like World's Strongest Woman, you are the first female to deadlift a 4 times bodyweight deadlift, correct?
Correct.
And that's a huge accomplishment. It was 123 pounds bodyweight, and the deadlift was?
Yeah, I actually weighed in at 121,
121.
that day, yeah, and the deadlift was 495.
Let's go!
Yeah, so that's definitely over
Yeah.
4 times bodyweight.
Yeah.
And an interesting statistic about that is if we go by Wilks, which for those that don't know, Wilks is the common way to try and calculate body weight and what you lift to figure out basically what the coefficient is. That is the highest single Wilks of any lift.
Yep, single lift Wilks of all time.
It's not just the deadlift, like you also have the world record total in the untested 121, 123, what is it?
It's 123, yeah.
Yeah, and what's the total?
What was my total? 1,100 and something?
It's like 1110 or something.
Yeah, 1110 or something like that. Yeah. I
We'll
don't
put it. You don't even like. I'm just saying, if I broke a record, I would know the number for sure. Like it would be tattooed like just on my arm right there. Like I got 1110. Because for you, and we're also going to talk about like you have that hashtag that sparked, just some people talking about the concept. We said the limit doesn't exist, which actually is a reference to the movie Mean Girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So talk us through this. What are your best lifts overall before we go on? So you told me the deadlift, but you also deadlifted 525 in the gym, right? Yeah.
So best lift ever?
Yeah.
Right. So recently I squatted 415, actually in a duffel bar.
Come on, let's go. Come on, good.
Which I think makes it harder.
You think it makes it harder, yeah?
What do you think?
I've actually never used a duffalo bar before, so I have no idea. I've heard it's a little bit harder.
Oh, you have a duffel bar, no one at Ford, so you have to try it.
Yeah. When I get back to look, so you're saying 415? Okay.
415, bench 210,
Yeah.
and deadlift 525 at the gym.
Yeah, and that's always around like the low 120. Like, do you do a water cut or do you cut really, or like you're
No,
kind of?
I usually just walk around 125, 126 at the most.
Yeah,
It's not a big
that's
cut at
nothing
all.
for a cut for a lifter. And is it 24-hour weigh-in like normally how it works? Yeah, for a 24-hour weigh-in, that's like nothing. But talk us through maybe the start of your lifting. I want to do a little bit of a profile. You didn't start doing powerlifting. You started doing weightlifting, right? Okay.
Yep, actually CrossFit.
You are no. We're changing the title of World's Strongest CrossFitter. That's it. That's it right there.
I did it, so
Yeah.
I guess I am a CrossFitter.
So what? So hold on, no, let's back up for a second. Were you just not like amazing at CrossFit, so then you decided to become a world champion powerlifter? Like, I've never heard of that before.
Well, CrossFit, so before that I knew I had never been into the weight side of the gym. So
Okay.
every time I would go to the gym, I would be that cardio bunny, be on the Stairmaster or on the treadmill, but would never even touch weights. So I actually went to school with Noah Olson.
Okay.
And this professor kept talking about him and how cool he is and what he can do, and that really attracted me towards CrossFit.
Sure.
And that was initially kind of how I got into barbell movements, or Olympic weightlifting, deadlifting, squatting, all that stuff. And then from there, I transitioned into Olympic weightlifting
Sure.
because I found a coach that wanted to coach me for free. His name is Camilo Garcia. He actually coached the Cuban national team.
Wow.
And he took me kind of under his wing. He taught me everything he knows, and I did Olympic weightlifting for about 3 years.
Okay.
And then from there, I met that guy, Hayden, and he convinced me to try sumo deadlift once, and I was pretty good, so I just
stuck with it.
Yep.
So
Seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah. How long has your total then lifting been? Let's say from the start of CrossFit to now. Yeah. How many years have you been
5
lifting?
years.
So okay. So you've only been lifting from touching basically like a barbell consistently about 5 years, and you've already set a world record.
11.
Yeah, 11 world records. Just like record after record. And for you, what was that choice? Because what were your best lifts when it comes to weightlifting?
For weightlifting, the most I've snatched is 190. 190. Around 190.
So
and
87, 88 kilos.
Exactly, yep. And clean and jerk, the most I've done is 110.
Okay.
So what's that?
242.
There you go.
Yeah.
242.
Yeah. And so for you, was that an easy call? Because like you said, did you want to take CrossFit to the next level? Like, did you want to compete in the game? What was your plan? Because did you fall into powerlifting? How was that from CrossFit? Was your goal always,
For me, so I played soccer professionally back in Venezuela.
Okay.
So for me, ever since I stopped playing soccer, it's been kind of like an ongoing quest for just finding a new competitive outlet, something that I could be good at. And that's why I kind of jumped a lot between sport and sport, just trying to find something that where my skill and my talents kind of aligned.
Sure. And then, so when it comes to the transition from one to the other, do you ever, for instance, like, do you ever really test yourself when it comes to CrossFit, or was it only when you found powerlifting?
Yeah, okay, so for CrossFit, actually the reason why I got into weightlifting was because the way I thought about CrossFit was a mix of different disciplines.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I was really good at was endurance, like in soccer and running half marathons. So that's the only thing I had covered. Then I had to work on strength, I had to work on gymnastics. Those were kind of like the two in Olympic weightlifting. Those were the three main things that I needed to work a lot on. And I pretty much said, okay, so the thing that I suck the most at is Olympic weightlifting. So I'm gonna start there. That's when I found a coach, and it was always with the intention of kind of going back to CrossFit, which obviously never ended up happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still think CrossFit is pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets then about, like, you know, when you said you thought about going back to CrossFit? Now that you said 11 world records, are you thinking to yourself, all right, now I want to win like a CrossFit Games, or like, you know, where's your mind at?
Okay, so fun-wise, I think CrossFit is a lot more fun than powerlifting, especially because you get to train.
You just lost all the fans right now. I'm just telling you that with that statement alone.
I take it back.
I'll take it back. No, go on. So what do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean by fun?
Just all the different things they can do. You know, you're not married to always having to do squat, bench, and deadlift. You can do all these other things. Like you're having a tough day in squat or in bench, doesn't matter. You can just go work on some gymnastics, and you're making sure that you're still improving in other things.
Yeah, there's some capacity you can always kind of work on.
Exactly. Then, I mean, every day that you walk into the gym, whoever you're training with, it's kind of like a competition. And that alone, to me, is really appealing and fun. Whereas in powerlifting, the weight classes are pretty delineated. So you're really just compete against yourself. Every time you come into the gym and whenever you go to competition, it's your own wilks you're trying to beat to a certain degree. So, I don't know.
Well, tell me then the journey with you when it comes to powerlifting. When did you think for yourself, okay, maybe I could become pretty good at this? You know, because you kind of like you said a sumo deadlift. What was the moment or the lift or something? How far along were you where you thought, no, maybe I could do this?
Yeah, so it was Boss of Bosses 3.
Okay.
It was my first Boss of Bosses that I had ever been to. I was competing head to head with this girl called Dani Overcash. She was kind of like the reigning champion in the 123 class.
Okay.
She crushed me in RUM 9, the last RUM. Do you ever hear about RUM?
Oh yeah. Jeremy did RUM.
Was it RUM 9?
Raw Unity.
Raw Unity Meet 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she crushed me at RUM 9, and I made it my goal to never let that happen again. And
I'll never let this happen again.
Yeah.
What does crush me? Like beat you by like 100 pounds? Like how much?
What did she? Something pretty significant.
Okay.
I mean, she won by a lot.
Okay.
And then at Boss of Bosses 3, I saw her again, and I knew she was gonna be there. I made it my goal to beat her.
Yeah.
And I ended up crushing her.
Wow.
In deadlift. And that's kind of when I realized I could be pretty good. I just beat the best 123.
Yeah.
So I thought I could do that.
And then you improved from there. So it was Boss of Bosses 4?
3.
That was Boss of Bosses 3. But what was the recent one this year? It was number 4. Yeah. And so every year, and that's maybe what people find exciting, or those that are taking a look at your lifts, like when you did that 525, is that it appears your progress is still happening, and that's why you put that hashtag, the limit does not exist. For you then, so you did Boss of Bosses 3, and then you continued training, and then when did you break your first world record?
So it was Reebok Record Breakers not this year, the year prior.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna have the world record deadlift, and I actually ended up breaking the squat and the total. So all except for the deadlift. So those were my first 2.
And then from there, you kind of said in the line, you only focus on, or you like to focus on the future. For you, what does the future hold? You deadlifted, like people probably, so before you came along, people talk about relative body weight or maybe what's possible. They'll try and categorize. There's been several things that happened, like Ray Williams squatting 1,000 pounds, raw with no reps was kind of like a moment like, oh wow. Or, again, the first deadlift, when people deadlift over 1,000, just these insane numbers where people thought it wouldn't be possible, then you come along and do a 4 times body weight deadlift, which is a huge number. Then you deadlift in the gym 525. For you, when you say you focus on the future, what are some of those future goals?
Well, the main one, obviously, it's a 600-pound deadlift.
Yeah.
That's like the one that I want to get the most.
Yeah.
And the second one is, so if I hit the numbers that I'm thinking I can hit at the US Open with wraps, I'll potentially have the biggest Wilks in history, guys and girls.
And so that would be
That's
in
my second.
May or June? June?
This is May.
May,
10th.
okay. So this one coming up, and so again, when you talk about Wilks being that coefficient people measure, you think you could put up maybe the highest Wilks of all time?
Oh, I know I can do it.
Wow. So where does that confidence come from then? Let me ask you, because like you said that, and I heard you say that, or like how you like to focus on the future, the numbers you're gonna be lifting. Is that something you always kind of had, like you played soccer, you knew you're good, and thus like it built that confidence, or where does the sense of confidence come from?
Just like from experience, you know, the more that you, as long as it's realistic, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna be a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. But as long as
that's just you doubting yourself, honestly.
as long as these are realistic goals, I've found personally that if you project them onto someone else, or you keep telling that to other people or to yourself, to me, it makes it kind of like more likely to happen.
Sure, yeah, because you're talking about it, you're making it a reality.
Happened. Yeah, I talk about it as it's a thing. It's gonna happen. It's not if. It's
like
when.
that 600-pound deadlift. When you said that it was such a. I remember when that hashtag came out in that lift, people were like, "Oh, are you kidding?" But like, you probably experienced that along your way, right? Of lifting where people probably doubted the potential what you had. Where it's like, well, whatever, you broke your first world record, and you're like, I plan on breaking the next one. They're like, well, I don't know about that. So how do you deal maybe with that? Like, not criticisms, but like people not believing, or like, you know, other people saying, well, I don't know about that, Stefi.
I definitely feel like I've become more vocal about what I'm gonna do as I grow into the sport and get more confident, gain more platform experience, etc. But to me, every time, like whenever anyone doubts me, to me that's something that fuels me. I kind of just like want to prove people wrong, I guess. One of the first experiences I had with that was my first CrossFit coach. Okay. I was in between CrossFit and weightlifting, and I asked him if he thought that I should focus on either of those to be good, and he said, honestly, Steph, don't focus on either, because you're not going to be good at either of those. And that just like burned you on the inside. You're like, are you kidding me? Yeah, no, seriously. And it was in the back of my, I don't think I even told anyone that he said that, but it had always been in the back of my head. I love how you don't remember the exact numbers you broke, but you remember what he said to you that day. Okay. Never forget. Fueled by rage. I like it. Yeah. So anytime that anyone doubts what I'm capable of, it's just more motivation for me. Sure. And you know, you're right. I mean, they're right. I don't know if that's even possible. They don't know if that's even possible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's really gonna happen, but I'm definitely gonna try and give it everything I've got. It's better to believe than to doubt yourself. Exactly. Now, you have mentioned a few more questions. You have mentioned CrossFit a few times here now. Do you have plans after, so after this, let's say the US Open meet goes exactly as planned, like you do the big numbers that you want to do, right? Like a 600-pound deadlift and so forth. What comes after that? Like, do you have plans on maybe going back to CrossFit? Like, do you want to be like a three-peat, like maybe you do, you know, powerlifting, then CrossFit, and then weightlifting, or like, you know, what's next then? I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna do CrossFit again, or that I'm never gonna compete in Olympic weightlifting again, because it's definitely a possibility. But I do know for sure that I want to keep competing in something, and that's something I always think about. You know, what am I gonna do when I'm 40? Like, I need something to compete to keep me sane. So I've thought about things like archery. Archery? Like, seriously. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what you use on the deadlift, the bow and arrow. The bow and arrow. Okay, I see where that's coming from. You know, archery just requires a lot of patience, a lot of repetition. I feel like I could be really good. I feel like I could go to the Olympics for that. I haven't even tried it. Well, you know, I've never picked up a bow. Before I go on, I should say I never picked up a bow, but I could definitely be a champion. Well, you know what's funny though? It's like that to get like a gold medal, because you know, like powerlifting as of yet is not in the Olympics, which is kind of like, it's so weird how this community has grown to such a large amount, and yet, like, let's say on TV, you know, it's not like covered. Let's talk a little bit about women in powerlifting and that explosion. When you first started, this would be 2 years ago, would it be? Okay. What have you seen so far when it comes to females in powerlifting? Has there been an explosion, kind of like the same thing with guys, or what's been going on? Yeah, it's been really, really cool to watch. Kind of, especially in hybrid, we have a private Facebook group where, you know, I feel like the girls especially feel really comfortable posting their videos and asking questions about their technique and being critiqued, even more so than just posting it randomly on Instagram. Sure. But it's been really, really awesome to just see how the first kind of, let's say, first 500 women that we had have gone from, let's say, 200-pound deadlifts to close to 400 pounds, and how they have started to be kind of like the role models for the new coming women, and how they empower each other.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
And also showing it's a repeatable process then, like they could do, like before people probably thought, oh, 315 deadlift for a female, that's huge, and all these people are now like 400-pound deadlifts, as you said.
It's the beauty of social media, you know, these are, powerlifting's been around for however many hundreds of years, I don't know.
Probably 80 years, 70, 80 years, yeah.
80 or 100, okay.
Yeah.
70, okay. Yeah, but this is the first time that you really see women kind of going after it, and I think it's thanks to social media. Women are seeing what other women can do and how they can still look feminine and they could still just be normal women that like to lift.
Sure, yeah, because maybe there were some stereotypes before to like either what, and maybe it was the same thing too when it comes to powerlifting for guys, like how you should look or like even how you should act, where there was that stereotype with like just because you're strong or you lift well, like maybe like you're a little bit of a meathead, like you're dumb, like you're angry all the time, you know.
You're fat because you're a powerlifter.
Yeah, well I mean I am fat, I'm not a powerlifter,
same.
but yeah, oh well, okay. If you got abs year round. Thick, oh,
thick.
surf claiming thick. So let me ask you this then, what do you think are the next steps to make powerlifting even more popular or get more women involved?
Just continue doing what we've been doing, you know, sharing our experiences, being welcoming to other women, especially when they ask questions or when they ask for advice, whenever they drop into your gym, teach them, you know, be nice to them, that kind of stuff, and just open your doors to them.
No, I think absolutely a supportive community, and that is what's so cool about powerlifting. I found in general, you know, there's always any community you go to, but in general with powerlifting, people are very supportive. They want to see you succeed when you compete and all sorts of things like that. Let me ask you this then. Final question when it comes to lifting, because you said I do dig that hashtag, the limit doesn't exist, and just like that, as you said, the confidence or the belief in yourself. So you talked about maybe you don't know what's coming up next. You said 40, like when you're 40, you still want to be doing something. After the 600 pounds for powerlifting, let's say like it goes down, other goals like you bench press squat, like is there any, you know, and you also said reps, like, are there any other numbers?
Not really, not any specific numbers other than the deadlift and the wilks.
Highest wilks.
Really.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, I always say, whenever I do this, I'm gonna leave my shoes to the platform and retire. Or whenever I do that, I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm not gonna push myself that hard.
Never enough.
Yeah, I said that about that 500-pound deadlift.
Yeah.
And then I've done it for 5.
Yeah.
And it's just never enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So final question, then you mentioned hybrid, you mentioned a coaching group that you do. Some people, because your videos get shared around like on Facebook or whatever, they just see these insane lifts and they think, oh, you're just like genetically blessed. Like you have this stuff inherently within you. But you've also studied lifting, read a lot of different authors, all sorts of things. What is hybrid performance?
Hybrid performance is basically an online virtual gym that offers different styles of workout programs for anyone. It could be beginner, intermediate, or advanced lifters. So besides providing you with your workouts each week, we also have kind of like an online community that meets via Facebook, where people can share their videos and get feedback from the coaches and from other members. Yeah, so what we'll link that in the description, the website. Stefi, thanks for being on. Can't wait to see the 600-pound deadlift. Where can people find you? You can find me at Stefi Cohen on the Instagram. On the Instagram, yeah. And you guys are maybe going to start doing a little bit of YouTube? Yeah. Some tutorials, because you do have, I would say, for people to check out your Instagram, besides the lifting, again, you write up good posts, like with regards to lifting or like proper technique, all sorts of things I think could be helpful for lifters. Yep. So I'll just say, in closing, if you liked the video, make sure to like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.